Young white men do have problems, but they need to man up. Yes, masculinity is in crisis, but the truth is masculinity has always been in crisis. No, it didn't start until feminazism seized so much power. Or rather, weak men gave too much power to the feminazis. They write things like this, and then they demand that we make sacrifices for them, that we care about their problems. No, thank you. No, thanks. See, you see how little you care about our problems? You could just tell by the title of this article alone. That's how little we care about yours. You're on your own. All right, last weekend, I was on a panel at the Oxford Literacy Festival, sponsored by the Telegraph, if you please. And the topic was the Southport riots. In considering the subject, the excellent Tony Sewell, a.k.a. Lord Sewell of Sanderstead, aired the view that one big cause of social unrest in Britain is that white working class boys are left behind. They're the bottom of the barrel, whether in school, higher indoctrination prospects, health, happiness, projected income. Sewell said the chair of the Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities report knows the stats well. His report found that systemic racism is not what lies behind the disparities in outcome, it's class. And poor white youth, mostly boys, do by far the worst. Yeah, they do the worst because there's all these racist preferential treatment support programs out there for everybody except white boys. And you want to know why it looks like they're doing worse and worse? Because they're leaving the country. And only those that didn't have the means or the brains to leave the country, yeah, they're the ones that are being left behind, which is even further skewing the numbers. This wasn't the first time the topic of struggling working class white boys hit the headlines. There's long been a panic about the effects that feminazism and more recently Pound Me Too, the discourse of toxic masculinity, have had on their psyches, leaving them no choice but to turn to that barbarian Andrew Tate in droves. Yeah, they really can't accept that they're the ones that created that monster. They created Andrew Tate. The topic has once caught fire since Netflix's Adolescence came out. So isn't that the one where they race swapped the killer from black to white, and then they just filled it with propaganda? Yeah, that's gonna make you keep shitting on white boys. Keep doing it. That's totally gonna get them on your side. This is literally the same thing as when American animation or comic fans, when they look at us for preferring anime or manga and they call us pedophiles for it. Like, oh yeah, that's totally gonna win me over to your side. Yeah, keep accusing me of some of the most heinous shit possible. Yeah, that's going to make me stop reading manga and watching anime and make me pick up your garbage instead. Yeah, keep doing it. Yeah, you're totally going to win. Just do it a few more times. Yeah, the miniseries about an English teen white working class boy accused of the murder of a female classmate. Yeah, except in reality, like the real event it was based on, it was, yeah, they race swapped the murderer. So revered is adolescence as perhaps the document for our times that Keir Starmer has on multiple occasions intoned reference to it in Parliament. So you do realize that entire propaganda hit piece was pretty much done by your government, right? Like this. Are you really so stupid you don't realize this is being done intentionally? I'm mistakenly and hilariously calling it a documentary. It has provoked anti-woke fury among those who believe that a white boy is the fall guy for a story of violence by another ethnic group. It is always safe, as they point out, to blame a white cisgendered heterosexual male. Well, because that's true. Like in current year society, the heroes all have to be diverse, but all the villains have to be white men. Because if you got a villain that's anything but a white man, now suddenly you got all the reeing. Or if you do get away with having some other group as the villain, you also have to have that exact same group as one of the heroes as well. Otherwise, they can't be villains. And this has provoked that whiny mixture of faux indignation and performative sentimentalism among those who feel, as their sons turn to Tate, or know boys who do, that they must hold their nose and take seriously the idea that perhaps this squashed, left out, derided demographic, once the backbone of the empire, has been given a raw deal since the decades, in the decades since wokeism began its institutional creep. Look, you could ignore this all you want. You can look down your nose all you want. All it's going to do is speed up your own decline. This is like the definition of biting the hand that feeds you. A member of the most privileged leisure class to ever exist is lashing out at the group of people that's primarily responsible for maintaining her lifestyle. But that's fine. If it's accelerationism you want, it's accelerationism you'll get. I'm fine with that. Now, as for the faux indignation, yeah, that is a little bit annoying on our side. Like a lot of people, like when they try to appeal to normies, they do put on the faux indignation. We could do without that. I'll give you that. But that's the only thing I'll give you. Despite its zeitgeistness, I've refused to watch Adolescence. I may be among the last few, at least in the chattering class, who have not tuned in. There are several reasons for my refusal. One is that the miniseries is obviously far too depressing. When I turn on a streaming platform these days, I want something jollier, something more along the lines of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City or the White Lotus. So nothing actually good, but whatever. Now, I can respect this viewpoint as well. Like, why would you watch something that you know is only meant to make you mad or scared or something like along those lines? Nah, instead of watching that garbage, I'll just watch anime that makes me happy. How about that? I'm gonna watch me some because anime is still like 99% escapist entertainment. I'll just watch that. I don't need your bullshit. Like, man, there's just so many people in my own friend group as well. They spend all day working themselves up into a fucking frenzy, freaking out about things they have no power or control over at all, just making themselves angrier or more scared. Like that's how you end up with all of these idiots that legitimately believed that if Orange Man won, there'd be right-wing death squads in the streets. Second is that while I recognize that this group is suffering, I simply don't feel inclined to indulge in either the huge pity party or the jamboree of toxic masculinity awareness rising that Adolescence has inspired. Yes, masculinity is in crisis, but in truth, the truth is that masculinity has always been in crisis. Ask any social historian. How about ask a real scientist? But no. And as with all moments of media-friendly crises of masculinity, we find ourselves talking about men like they are helpless little flowers. That is odd. Now, on this, we can agree. And this is why things are about to ready to hit a drastic shift. So women are the ones that can't do anything for themselves. Like they need the government to enforce feminism, for example. If feminism wasn't enforced at gunpoint by the government, it wouldn't exist. It would have been gone decades ago. Men and boys, on the other hand, they get shit done. And sometimes they do it by not doing shit, ironically enough. Their labor, when contributed to the system, keeps it alive, and they can withdraw their labor and collapse the whole thing if they want. And that is the point we're at, I think. Yeah, the best part, men win by doing nothing. Exactly. All you got to do is just pull away. Work a minimum wage job, making like barely enough to pay your own bills and pay for your hobbies. Don't date. Yeah, don't sign up to risk your life, like to die for a country that hates you. Yeah, just learn from the herbivore men in Japan. Working class white boys are found to be treated badly and therefore to do badly and act badly. One of the big issues cited is that they don't know their worth or purpose anymore in a society constantly calling them toxic. No, they do know. That's why they're going towards people like Andrew Tate. So the entire rest of society is attacking them, calling them a problem, And then Andrew Tate comes in and says, hey, I feel your pain, man, but don't worry, you're good. And let me explain why. And that's why they all go to him. Yeah, maybe if the alternatives to Andrew Tate weren't all so evil and toxic, maybe he wouldn't be gaining as much power as he is. No, very sad, but it's possible to get over such slights and thrive anyway. Oddly enough, that's exactly what's happening. But that's not enough, because men and boys are doing just that. They're as she says, getting over such slights and thriving anyway. But now the problem is, but they're only looking out for themselves. They're not sacrificing themselves for me. That's where it's going to get really fun, is all of these feminazis, when they realize that men aren't willing to carry water for them anymore, and they see their entire ideology crumbling. That's when things are going to get fun. Women's have faced derision for almost all of history for simply being women's. They're seen as neurotic, nervous, intellectually inferior, limited to backbreaking domestic labor and breeding. Yeah, backbreaking domestic labor? Seriously? They seriously put cooking and cleaning on the same level of construction or coal mining, especially nowadays. When you got household appliances that do literally everything. So any who tried to go beyond this were stymied, ridiculed, or often simply barred. Yeah, and the few good ones were able to pretend to be boys and get away with it. But the vast majority of them aren't as good as they think they are. Of course, there's no indoctrination or encouragement or even guaranteed success, unlike that enjoyed by every single child in Britain today. It was completely acceptable for husbands to beat or snuggle wives seen as intransigent or just irritatingly alive. Yet still, women's by and large obeyed the law and tried to get on. Yeah, and then now we're in a world where it's completely acceptable for women to just steal a man's kids and over half of his stuff, and then he's got no legal recourse. He just has to obey the law and try to get on. Some sniping about toxic masculinity is hardly a life sentence, and if boys are small men and men are meant to be tough, which is why so many are frustrated now. We're told in this feminized society, can't they hold strong even in the face of adversity? Oh, you don't even know. Guess what? They are. But you're not going to like their solution, though. Yeah, these boys are I mean, they're learning. They're learning. They're living for themselves. Like, more and more of them are actually thankful for this. Like, oh man, if it wasn't for how bad things were, I never would have woken up to like how it's possible to have an awesome life not worrying about traditional values. Like, so you mean I can spend my entire life working reasonable hours, paying only my own bills, and having plenty of money left over for hobbies? I could do that without working 80 hours a week? Dang. Man, when I was younger, I was just I was looking to find a wife and go to college and get a good job and raise a family. But now, you've shown me there's another way. The idea that if you don't give them all big culture and social hug, they'll commit violence and become arsonists and misogynists isn't good enough. No, see, you're if you believe that, you're pretty dumb. Nobody is asking to you need to give us a big social and cultural hug. No. All we're asking is that you stop beating us. Like, that's it. And if you can't do that, we're just going to separate ourselves from you. And you can be left to your own devices. We don't care anymore. Like, that's it. That's all it is. I just stop treating us poorly, or we're going to leave and go someplace where we're treated better. And then we don't want to hear you bitching about wanting us to come back and take responsibility. No, you need to take responsibility. This is your problem now, not ours. Like, yeah, I'm just going to play them that old Aaron Clary video. Like, that sounds like a them problem. I'm not going to worry too much about your problems. I got my own to worry about. Why can't we expect them to be decent, hardworking people, even in tough circumstances? Yeah, why can't you just be a good, obedient slave and keep working for my benefit? It might be good for them, even though we're immediately being told we're crushing them with unrealistic expectations. No, look, if you see it that way, again, you're going to be surprised because it's pretty much unheard of for a woman to just walk away from society because, with very few exceptions, they can't. Both for mental and physical reasons. Men, on the other hand, they can. They can and they will, and they are doing it. So when you got nobody left, like this is like literally Atlas Shrugged. Yeah, the guy whose job it is to hold up the whole world. What if one day he decides, like, I've had enough of this. Fuck holding up the world. It can hold itself up. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go play some video games. Well, what's going to happen to all of your empowerment then? When the people who you rely on to enforce it are gone, you sure as fuck ain't going to do it yourself. Even if you wanted to, you wouldn't have the ability. So all of these white men that you're vilifying, eventually they're just going to check out of society or leave the country and be replaced by Muslim immigrants primarily, who are going to show you what real toxic masculinity is. And then when you're crying for help, the men you chased away, they'll be, they'll probably be living it up in fucking Vietnam, in the Caribbean, wherever it is they went. Why would we come back? We're loving our lives now. You know what? You can live with the consequences of what you created. I don't care. Yes, young white men need help and encouragement and resources and schemes and mentorships, and to not be told they're worthless, but they're not entirely victims either. They have a bit of agency and they do have their own will. Though I love this line in particular because now that the feminists said it, we can say the same thing back to them. Every time they cry and play the victim, literally just copy and paste this line back to them and replace young white men with feminists. So I do not wish to draft on anybody's son, but does it occur to one that that in days gone by, the majority of these rootless boys without obvious or easy prospects, held back by socioeconomic class, would have donned the uniform and gone off to war? Many would have died, which is a tragedy that is every parent's worst nightmare. Oh, is this how you see it? You know what else they would have done? Oh, they would have donned a uniform and gone to war in revolution against the society that is fucking with them. Is that what you want? Because look, all of these young men that have been abandoned by society, they have no reason to fight and die versus some foreign power for the society that did this to them. Like nowadays, I think you will find it's much more likely that any man that wants to go to war, they will side with the enemy against the society that's screwing them over. If that's what you want. For many, though, it was the making of them who they were scalded into men. They tasted valor, heroism, and for the more thuggish satisfaction of the appetite for brute force and combat, sanctioned by the state. Not exactly wrong. But the same applies to women, by the way. Let Britain be saved from a war like those our 20th century forefathers and mothers experienced. May conscription never be necessary again. But let us find some way to get our ne'er-do-well stragglers and miserable young men into something bigger than themselves to stop them gravitating to all that is lower, nastier, and meaner. Oh, you have no idea what you're setting up, man. Seriously. This is like the textbook definition of ignorance and privilege. Dude, like this woman has never had to struggle once in her life. Once again, none of this is going to be our problem, like when all of it finally explodes. See, us guys, we're the ones who've already been, like, we know what's coming. We're preparing for it. Yeah, nah, don't tell them. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Like, they've already demonstrated that they're idiots. We've been telling them this for years. And they brush us off and write garbage like this. It's obvious they're not listening. They're incapable of listening. It doesn't matter. We can tell them, they're not going to listen anyway. So we should keep telling them so more boys hear what we're saying and they listen, and maybe even a few girls that aren't total idiots and haven't been completely brainwashed into feminism. The few out there that are good, they'll listen too. But the rest of them, they're idiots. They're not going to listen. We could tell them every single thing that's going to happen step by step. They're not going to listen anyway. It doesn't matter. What are they going to do? Nothing.